this is your math video. So first you're going to start the lesson with watching the video. I apologize, this is so blurry, but it's dark in here. So I'm working with the light that I have. Okay, so watch the video first for lesson number 5. And then I'm going to explain the lesson as best as I can, but I'm sure the video will do a better job explaining it. Multiplication is adding equal groups together. Can I make this any clearer? There. Multiplication is adding equal groups together to find the total. Each part of a multiplication problem has a name. Factors are the numbers that are multiplied together to form a product. So product is the answer that you get when you multiply two factors, right? So one factor multiplied by another factor equals the product, which is the answer. The commutative property of multiplication tells us that factors can be multiplied in any order and will always have the same product. So commutative property of multiplication, it's a rule which says that 5 times 3 equals 15, and you get the same answer or product if you flip-flop these two numbers, right? So if you put 5 here and 3 here, you still get the same number. 5 times 3 is 15, and 3 times 5 is also 15. So switching the numbers doesn't change the product. That's what the commutative property of multiplication means. Multiplication can be shown using different visuals, such as groups, arrays, and more. An array is a group of numbers or items arranged into rows. So this is an array, right? They have a picture of eggs lined up. An array is a group of numbers or items arranged into rows and columns. The first factor listed represents the number of rows, and the second factor is the number of columns. So there's 2 rows. Two rows, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. So 2 rows, which is 2 here, and 6 columns multiplied. So this is a factor, this is a factor, and this is a product. And this whole thing is called an array. When multiplying groups of objects, the first factor is the number of groups. The second factor is how many objects are in each group. So we have, these are the factors we have, and we have 4 groups, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, and each group has 2 stars. So 4 times 2 equals 8. 4 groups of stars multiplied by 2 stars in each group equals 8 total stars. And moving on here, multiplication patterns follow similar rules to addition patterns. Get out, Kylie, now. Multiplication patterns follow similar rules to addition patterns. While multiplication is adding equal groups together to find the total amount, skip counting is a number pattern with multiples. A multiple of a number is the product of a number and an integer. So multiplication rules. Even number multiplied by an even number equals an even number. If you multiply an even number by an odd number, you're going to get an even number. An odd number multiplied by an odd number equals an odd number. Notice that any number multiplied by an even number will equal an even number. Multiples of 4 follow 2 of the multiplication rules listed above. Each multiple of 4 is an even number because 4 is an even number. Even number multiplied by an even number equals even number. And even times odd equals even. So, multiples of 4. 4 times 1 is 4, which is an even number. Multiples of 8 is 4 and multiply by 2, and you get an even number. And 4 times 3, that's multiplication problem. Multiples of 4, and so on. You can read that for yourself. Lesson practice. Put a box around the factors and find the product. So you're going to put a box around the factors. Which are the factors? We had discussed that the two numbers that you are multiplying are the factors. So you're going to put a box around these two. And then you're going to find what the answer is. 2 times 5 is 10. And you're going to solve the rest of them by yourself. And then number 2, use the commutative property to rewrite this equation by changing the order of the factors. So remember, that commutative property says that if we flip-flop the 12 and the 10, we should still get the same answer. So you're going to rewrite this problem by flip-flopping these two numbers, and you can write that here. Number 3, write a multiplication equation for each array. So number of rows multiplied by the number of columns. And you can write that here, and you're going to put the answer here. Same thing for this, and same thing for that. Number 4, write a multiplication problem to represent multiplying groups of objects. You're going to write that here. So these are all guitars, and you're going to see how many groups, how many guitars you have in each group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are 3 groups, and each group has 6 guitars in each, right? So you're going to write 3 groups multiplied by 6 guitars equals your answer. Same thing here. How many groups do you have of the little chickies? And multiplied by the number of chickies in each group. And that'll give you the answer. Number 5, complete the chart. So multiples of 7. 7 times 1, and so on. So just like if you have a hard time doing this chart, go look at how they did the other chart that we went over on the previous page. So these are going to be multiples of 7. 7 times 1, let me see how they did this one. Where is that chart? Here. So see how these are all multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. So this is skip counting by 4s basically. And then this row is going to be 4s all the way through, times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6, times 7. So you're going to do the same thing to fill out this chart, right? You're going to do multiples of 7. You're basically skip counting by 7. 7 plus 7 is, next number is 14, plus another 7, you're going to figure that out, plus another 7 is going to be 28, plus another 7, figure it out, blah, blah, blah. And then here you're going to write 7 for the first number all the way through, and then for the second digit, you're going to write times 1, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5, times 6, times 7. And then you're going to write what the numbers are. So see, this one's an odd number, and that's an odd number equals an odd number. So the answer was odd. So you're going to write down what the rule was, right? Number 6, draw an array of squares for the multiplication problem 4 times 6. How many squares did you draw? So you're going to draw a little picture of squares. So 4 squares going this way, 6 squares going that way, or the opposite. Or you can do 6 squares going this way and 4 squares going that way. And then you're going to figure out how many you drew total. You're going to fill out an array, basically, just like they had it here. See how they have a certain amount going this way and a certain amount going that way. And then they filled out the rest of it. So you're going to do the same thing to draw your array. Read with your parent or teacher. Multiplication mastery. Memorizing multiplication facts is an essential part of this course. Knowing the answers to multiplication problems instantly makes many math concepts much easier to teach and learn. You will work on memorizing set A and set B during this first unit. You will use multiplication mastery chart on page 395 in the back of the book to keep track of your progress. The course will tell you when to use the chart. In most lessons, the course book will instruct you to work for 10 minutes or more on multiplication facts. So I already printed out, or I made flashcards for you, so you need to be going over those every day for 10 minutes. You will be practicing set A in this lesson. Ask your parent or teacher which resource from page 5 you will use to practice the facts. So you can use whatever resource you want, but whichever one you choose. Where's page 5? So you can go on page 5, and whatever resource you like, you can tell me which one you used later. But the whole point is just to practice set A for this lesson. I'm out of breath. If you already have these multiplication facts memorized, you do not need to complete the 10 minutes of multiplication facts practice, but you will still write the answers to all the problems in the multiplication fact practice boxes in each lesson. So maybe go ahead and try to fill this out and see which ones you get stuck on. And whatever answers you don't know, then you can go back and practice just those. But the ones you do know, you can just skip. So complete this first. Then go back and practice the ones that you've missed. In addition to the facts in set A, you will also practice zeros, ones, tens, and 11 facts in the colored boxes in each review section. Is this it? Is there more? Yep, that was the end of the lesson. So go ahead and finish all that. Bye.